not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling DWAYNE Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome, and thank you so much for joining us here on this edition of Talk Today. Hey, it's Wednesday, a wonderful Wednesday. We get to start things off with our friends from the Cayman Civil Service Association. 1 o'clock, I think we're going to talk about some recycling. Let's see what that means. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255. Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling DWAYNE Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us as we invite your studio an opportunity to have a continued conversation with the Cayman Civil Services Association and past president, Mr. James Waller.
Yes, sir.
Is it James T?
James T for Truman.
Yeah? Like Booker T?
Well, I don't know.
It's always good to have tea, you know.
That's right, yeah.
Ms. Zidame, it's a pleasure, man. Good afternoon to you.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, yeah, that voice of the angel who sings. Everyone sing?
Hey, good afternoon, Sterling DWAYNE.
All right, man. Sitting across from you. And seems familiar, but always in a different capacity. Huh?
Yeah, I'm not in the hot seat right now. It's kind of nice. You get the hot seat, I get to...
A seat is always good, man.
I get to smile and answer a few questions.
There you go, there you go. I was actually thinking on the way over, if I just reverse gears, I could continue where I was going. I could leave it to you, man. No.
Yeah, we were having a joke about that, you know.
Yeah.
You said you were on to interview yourself.
Yeah, you think you were joking. The thought crossed my mind. Oh, man. But it's all, it's reflective. And I was thinking of each day, okay, what's coming up tomorrow? And you get an idea, so that it helps to be informative, helps to make use of your time, but also adds value to those who are listening. And as small as Cayman is, you recognize how disconnected at time, but how interconnected we can be. And even though the conversation I was having as I was waiting, doing whatever I have to do, is separate and distinct, I can see relevance between different organizations and agencies and associations, and whether it's a professional association or whether So.
And I'm happy to see Radio Cayman is bringing us all together.
That's right, yeah.
There you go.
The glue
Voice
in
of
the
the Cayman Islands.
Well, we have to be, We have to be at that balanced perspective. But from that point, Mr. James, I mean, we're here is getting to the end of the year. We see the Cisco executive, we see things. Share with us so that we understand exactly where we're going, what we're doing, and why we're what we are.
Well, what we want to do is sort of remind our members of what we did this past year, and also we want to then project what we're doing this coming year, and we always want them to participate, make sure they're a part of what we're doing, and they understand where we are and what part that they can play as we continue this fantastic organization. We've done a lot of great things this past year, and we are looking forward with anticipation of what we're going to be doing come this coming year, the 2019.
Indeed. Really, Ms. Zito was shocked about, really came out bringing us all together. And it doesn't matter in what facet. With the greatest respect, whether it's political coverage, whether it's a sporting match, whether it's something in academia, really came out is central, and it's important for us. You sit, and wear many different hats and many different capacities, but as we sit here today,
wearing a very different hat. Very different hat. The newbie on the Cayman Islands Civil Service Association, and it's a fun seat to be in.
Yeah, I was actually thinking of asking you, but I always just sort of respect, and so that you don't make people uncomfortable. Not with you, in particular, because you're not just eloquent, but you're instrumental and so on. What that would be like. There are many civil servants over the years get involved quietly in different things, and sometimes if it's your job, you step up because you have to. You've been given some sort of instructions. Well, I need you to go to this particular meeting and present this thing, but not necessarily wanting to be, say, part of the CISCA. And maybe you give us this perspective. You said only because you said the newbie. We have stalwarts like Mr. Wattler and others who would probably always be called upon. Without calling names, I can think of a few others who have long since retired from the civil service, who I know are still invaluable. They reach out, we reach out to them and say, hey, what about this? So from that perspective, that the freshman?
From that perspective, I think, to your point, I think everyone has different areas they can contribute to, and some may choose just being a silent member and being involved in that capacity, just by showing strength in numbers can be how they offer their support. And to be fair, when I first joined as just a member a few years back, that was my initial intention, was just to join in as a silent member, learn what was actually going on within the association, and because I came into it with a very different understanding of what it actually had done, being new to the civil service at that time, and then joining the association at that time within the very short span of time. And then over the past few years, having the opportunity to attend the AGMs, hear former very committed members speak about the importance of the association, because it was inspiring to actually want to stay involved and be a little more proactive and apply some of my personal background in the policy side. And so I've recently joined the policy subunit within the association, and hopefully can offer some of my professional expertise to that realm.
And that's something that I think every time we come on, we talk about the appeal for new membership and the importance of it. I think it really highlights that. Whether you're a member of a business association, whatever that's called, whether you're a practicing professional within some realm and you join that professional body, you get a chance to contribute. You get a chance to hear what is happening, what potential may be affecting your body, but also how you can help to influence some of those things, right, Ms. Zito?
Sure. We have the Management Council, and so that's like the executive. Then we have subcommittees that work diligently to, try to bring everything together, and then, they report back to us. It'll be like a member of the Management Council on each of those subcommittees, and then they bring it back to our monthly meetings. So, we're always abreast of what is happening, what is going on. So we're always looking for members. Some people don't want to say, I don't want to go to meetings every week or every month and thing like that. But they're willing to help out in different categories that they find comfortable and flexible for them. So being a member of one of those subcommittees, is tremendous to us.
I think too, from what both have shared, Mr. Wattler, you not only get a chance to contribute your knowledge, your skill set, but maybe develop an interest, gain more insight, and even for your own edification, benefit great. But who knows how that will translate into your direct work, whether it's policy, whether it's PR, or whether it's some other aspect of helping to promote through an education initiative a particular cause.
It's beneficial to each individual because we gain from each other's knowledge and knowledge gained. You come into a committee and you're sitting around the table. Okay, so I share what I know. You share what you know. So I go away knowing something more about you and what you do. And you, therefore, it's the same, in the reverse. But not only that, you can take what you have gained, take it back to your workplace if that's where your main interest in it is in that particular portfolio. And then, you've gained that knowledge that you can share with your colleagues and say, I think we could do this or this better. So it's always good, I always say, in giving, you receive. But you don't give to receive, right? So when you give freely around the table, just talking, somebody else picks up on something that will be of a benefit to them. So you give and you receive at the same time.
And that same thought, continuing on that, we find that that cross-fertilization of ideas translates into many other areas where we are at, and also where the other person or persons are within their entity or organization, and so you can get more dynamics to it by your organization taking on that particular challenge or what have you, and you're moving forward with it. The Civil Service Association has endeavored to develop its members, educate them to their rights within the job that they have, also to work alongside our employer and have a good rapport with them. If there's a breakdown between the employee and the appointing officer or employer, then this is where also the association will step in and try to be that middle person to try and ensure that a better understanding transpires between the two parties that are at odds for whatever reason. And we do an awful lot of that with our members who find themselves in the challenges or difficulties, and we work with them. And so the whole idea of bringing people together and working through from whether it's the policy side or whatever the actual area is, we find that it's benefiting all of us as we throw out ideas, as we receive ideas, and as we take them and sometimes pull them apart in order to get the best out of that out of what's going on, so that at the end of the day, all of us will benefit. That is, not just the persons who are there creating this policy or what have you, but also it's the extension as it is passed out throughout the entire association.
Dissemination. When we disseminate between us, we build a better world.
Yeah.
Hey, almost sounds like a Christmas song.
She's a singer now, so remember.
Yeah. Oh, you see how I'm just No, but that's the important,
Well, if I can add on to what was just said, one of the areas, being new, is coming up with a very fresh perspective on things. One of the areas I found to be very beneficial coming into the association was the networking opportunities that presented themselves, being able to meet many members from across the civil service. Civil service is a very large entity comprised of a number of different people, and this offers the opportunity, a rare opportunity that a lot of civil servants may not on a regular basis have access to, and that is being able to meet members from the other departments, other ministries, and interact on that level. And it just brings a wealth of experience. You recognize that a number of the people have similar strengths, similar concerns, whatever it might be, and this is just that opportunity to find a neutral environment for everyone to really network.
Now, Mr. Waller, you've been involved for a couple of days, and the transition sometimes from one executive to the next, the change in not just of the guard, but the times and the expectations, the demands. From that perspective, both as an association, but as an individual civil servant, where do you see us?
Well, I see great potential, because especially with younger people coming on and having the ideas, bringing forth their ideas, meshing them with, remember the old has a certain philosophy and so forth. Well, the old and the new merging together and being able to see from each other's point of view is extremely important in an organization. Coming from where I set off, I joined the service in December of 1978 in the Georgetown Town Hall. I remember that clearly. They had a big meeting there. Some very hot issues were going on, and so from then I became a part of the organization. I've sort of worked through a number of different areas. I was at one time the treasurer of the organization. I was secretary. I was assistant secretary, and of course I moved on up to president for over the last. I'm the John has succeeded me, so therefore I'm the past president, if you want to call that.
Immediate past
more
president.
Immediate past president. But I've seen great changes in our philosophy, in the way we do things, because we have a change in community. And if we don't adapt to the change, then we are going to be left behind. And that's the important part, where we bring new blood, whether younger or older blood, it doesn't matter. It's a new dimension, new direction. And so we are able to move forward, despite sometimes we have different challenges. But then what we do is, behind the scenes, we work those things out, and we decide on a course of action, and we take that course of action. Just like anything else, we go through the democratic process of ensuring that what we want, we've sat down, we've teased it out, we know exactly where we're at and where we want to go, and then we decide on that course of action going forward.
All right. Well, when we come back from our break, let's maybe look at some of those decisions that we've taken over the year. Maybe some of the things potentially really looking forward, and hopefully extend an invitation to other civil servants who haven't joined us yet to do so, for those who are members to recognize the importance of continuing in that investment in the membership. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
I didn't mean to hurt her. Work was tough. We're struggling financially. I had a few drinks to relax, but then the argument started. It was a mistake to hit her. Now I don't have a job. I don't have a wife. I can't afford to feed my family. This was a hard lesson to learn. Never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
The Stop the Slap campaign, proudly sponsored by Foster's IGA. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
Puts a leader in Sampins. It's Foster's.
Get ready to have the easiest, most delicious Christmas feast with help from Foster's IGA. Each perfectly prepared Christmas dinner includes a juicy golden turkey or glazed ham, stuffing, 3 sides, a freshly baked pie, rolls, gravy, and cranberry sauce for only $79.99. Feed up to 6 people and taste Christmas with Foster's IGA. Order your holiday dinner online at fosters-iga.com.
At Foster's Food Fair IGA, we care.
Advance Automotive Chevrolet is celebrating their 10th birthday by giving away $10,000 to one lucky person who buys a brand new Chevrolet. Not buying a new car this year? Well then, why not be one of 10 people who could win free gas for a year? Book any service with Advance Automotive before December 19th to enter. And remember, Advance Automotive can service any make of vehicle, so everyone can enter. Visit AdvanceChevrolet.com for more details or call 945-9191 to book your service today. Terms and conditions apply.
'Tis the season to be jolly, and Kirk Freeport is spreading holiday cheer for the whole family. Join us on December 15th from 4 to 7 p.m. for the annual Christmas on Cardinal event. Festivities will include music, refreshments, face painting, cotton candy, cookie decorating, fireworks, and more. Bring the whole family and don't miss your chance to see Santa. Kirk Freeport's annual Christmas on Cardinal event, December 15th from 4 to 7 p.m. on Cardinal Avenue in Georgetown. Merry Christmas from everyone at Kirk Freeport.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us in the studio. Past President of the Cayman Civil Service Association, Mr. James Wattler, leads an able group of colleagues as we talk about the Civil Service Association with DWAYNE together, with a man who's beginning to wear multiple hats, almost Mr. Wattler, even though he's not here, but with great respect, almost like Mr. Bothwell.
Yes.
Because I think sometimes when he comes in, So, Mr. Ray, why? You're stepping into big shoes.
Yeah.
Those are big shoes to fill. He's covering a lot of territory there.
Yeah. Ooh. But that's the thing that I like. I think it was you shared that earlier. And in Cayman particularly, irrespective of whatever area, and I say this, I think, with a fair contradiction, we see it in the arts, and the artists themselves will tell you, they get a chance to step on relatively a national stage. Okay, it may be small, but they can step on and they can get a chance to contribute. If it's an architect, an engineer, or some other professional, they get involved with projects earlier on a larger scale than they would maybe in anywhere else. But as a civil servant, no matter your title, you get a chance to be a part of it. And I think as part of a member or involved in some facet of the Civil Service Association, you get to see a lot. You get to contribute. Who knows? What that'll take you. Right, Ms. Zito?
Yeah, I would say it's a wonderful blend of persons who, on a normal basis, we're all civil servants. We work every day. We give our honest contribution, and we fulfill our mandate and our job roles. Mm-hmm. But when we step out of that and say, okay, we're going to be a member of the Civil Service Association or another organization, and we contribute to that one, also, it's just a good blend of the caliber of people that we have within the civil service. Mm-hmm. Because the Civil Service Association, we announced that we're having our AGM and we're having our meetings and, invite people to come. And at the meeting, we invite people if, you got nominations from the floor, whatever, the case may be. Mm-hmm. So, anybody could get involved with the association. But I'm talking about the civil service itself. As civil servants, I'm happy to say I'm a civil servant. And you were talking something about 93. I joined the civil service back in 80 when I was in tourism. And at the airport, I remember going back a little bit where, I was in this room sending off these telexes. And you have all these private pilots and everything come into you and give us their, agenda and their flight plan, what they want to do. And you had to always get that approval from Cuba, mm-hmm. right, to fly over. So I would be there telexing and get, and I'll in a couple of minutes you'll see it come up and you'll read the telex and, be able to tell them, yes, you can fly over Cuba at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon or whatever time. Right, so I've gone back a little bit, but then I went into the private sector in the tourism industry, and then back to the civil service. And just 2 weeks ago, I celebrated 25 years in general registry. Wow. Back in the civil service. Mm-hmm. But I've been on the executive management council for the Civil Service Association 20 years, and I can tell you that we grow as people, we help each other mm-hmm. in many different facets of life. And that's what it's all about. You're given, and in giving, you receive.
Mm-hmm. That's it, because it's all of, from what Ms. Zita shared and you earlier, that historical perspective, mm-hmm. We hear it often, and sometimes it's more florid than others, but you can't know where you're going unless you know where you come from, right? Mm-hmm. The civil service you referenced in 78, we see the historical context of the things happening. We see the value that the Civil Service Association is to civil servants, but mm-hmm. also to the civil service, mm-hmm. being able to contribute and critique, being able to help the country move forward. Because at the end of the day, you're still, affected by what happens, and
that's right.
From that perspective, then.
Yeah, well, there's great need for organizations such as the Civil Service Association, because within any body that you work with, you will find that when people are able to come together, have an idea of what they want, they have a mandate or which they want to carry out. In our case, our mandate is looking out for the benefit of our members, ensuring that equity and fairness takes place. Those are very crucial words that we take seriously, where nobody is disenfranchised. And we know when we work with people, disenfranchisement can happen. We try to buffer that whenever, or if a person finds themselves not getting along with their boss, their employer, whatever, we try to work through and get that resolved as soon as possible, because there's no way that the civil service is going to grow. That is the civil service itself, not the association, if the members or the people that work for it are not happy and not satisfied with what's happening. And so therefore we work in order to achieve that unity of going forward, bringing both parties together and trying to resolve whatever the challenge or issue happens to be. And in any entity or organization, you'll find that helps when people are able to sit down and talk through their challenges, talk through their problems. A lot of people have said to us that, why don't you become a union or what have you? And unions their focus, in my opinion, is a lot different. Their focus is taking care of the members 100% and, getting as much as they can out of the employer. Well, our philosophy is not really getting everything, just beating the employer for all the things that need to be. We want to see that equity. We want to see that fairness take place. That's very important. But we also want to see the development of both the employer and the employee together. And even at that, we've run, over the years, we've done a number of training courses for our members so they can fit in better, they can feel more a part of the civil service, which that's their primary job, is being a civil servant. And then secondly, being a member, but being a member that is happy about where he or she is at and the contribution, the level of contribution that he or she is able to make, because there's that unity with the brothers and sisters who work alongside you. It makes a world of a difference. Not all organizations have that kind of unanimity about them. And as I said, a union would look at it from a different perspective. They look at dollars and cents strictly, whereas the association looks at the whole person, including those couple of pennies that we get.
Right. A lot of people feel if you mention the word union, you'd find that a lot of people kind of shy away because they associate it with being aggressive and going on strikes and all that kinds of stuff. So I don't think that we would ever go that way. We are a registered company and we are a registered non-profit organization. And that in itself, says, we are strong. We are about doing everything the legal way, being a legal entity. And we are there for our membership. And, it starts at home. Mm-hmm. When you think about being a part of something, you start from within. And that'll bring me to those who are now outside of the civil service, like the retirees. They can still come and be members of the association by being or just paying $12 for the whole year. That's $1 per month, where the regular civil servants pay $5 per month. I don't think there's any other organization that you can say you're a member and you're getting benefits for $5 a month, right? But like I said, if you're a retiree, because sometimes, you meet people and you say, hi, how you doing? And they'll ask how it's going and stuff like that, and you invite them to come back and be members, and then they can attend the meetings and everything take part within the organization. So I would, just put that out there again today if there is any retirees listening.
When we come back from our break, could we ask about how, the existing members, how they can get more involved? Some certainly don't want to be a part of, the public part of it and the executive and coming on the radio and addressing the audience. Others may like that. Some may want to be able to say, well, I can serve in some committee looking at something, but I'm not sure. Some know, some just need to be reminded. Could we ask about that so that they get a perspective
Sure.
and, the skill sets, how they can contribute? And any particular civil servant, former or current, who has a question, well, 949-8037 or 1-800-534-TALK. You can join our discussion. Let's pause and take a short break. When we come back, more Talk Today.
Don't let a dingy house get you down this Christmas. Spruce up your home for the holidays. It's Christmas at Superstitch. Head over to Superstitch and see the wonderful selection of fabrics, curtains, sheets, towels, quilted bedspreads, rugs, bathroom sets, and more. New stock has just arrived at Superstitch. Telephone 949-2833.
Merry Christmas!
Opening hours 8:30 a.m. Monday to Friday, and on Saturdays 8 a.m.
I didn't mean to hurt her. Work was tough. We're struggling financially. I had a few drinks to relax, but then the argument started. It was a mistake to hit her. Now I don't have a job. I don't have a wife. I can't afford to feed my family. This was a hard lesson to learn. Never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
The Stop the Slap campaign has been proudly sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Stop the slap. Stop the cycle. Stop the violence.
I need a bank that is convenient for me.
What do you mean?
I need a bank that has easy-to-find locations and plenty ATMs when I need cash on the go.
Oh, well, that's easy. You need to bank with Cayman National. They have 7 customer service centers and 23 ATM locations. The newest one is at the East End Post Office, and I hear there's more to come.
Well, sounds like I need to bank with Cayman National Bank, the convenient bank, because they seem to be everywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Cayman National is everywhere. Surely they are Cayman's convenient bank.
Cayman National Bank. We're here for you.
Kubo Restaurant and Lounge. Cayman's only Pan-Asian restaurant and lounge is now open for lunch.
Taste the traditional flavors of Asian cuisine fused with your modern flair in Kubo's new sushi menu. With lunch delivery from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, you can bring the Asian fusion flavors of Kubo and your sushi platter to your office today. Kubo Restaurant and Lounge is located in the Strand next to the eatery and below Lily's nightclub.
Now open for lunch. That's right, now open for lunch with a new sushi menu and delivery. Visit kubo.ky. That's KUBOH.KY or call 947-4513 to place your order.
You can hear another CI Retro Talk Today special presentation on Friday at 12:15 p.m. when we take a look back at Cayman Islands' Christmas celebrations and traditions through the years, going back some 150 years through present day. This special CI Retro Talk Today presentation is being brought to you by Four Winds Esso, Enterprise City, and FSH Designs. CI Retro Talk Today, Christmas Remembered Through the Years, Friday, 12:15 p.m. on Radio Cayman.
I am worried about my employees' health insurance. Are there any companies out there that I can rely on for great coverage, affordable payments, and who will work to make the switch as easy as possible? Or am I asking for too much?
You sound like you need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier, payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
This is too important. Today's the day I am switching to Fidelity Health.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us in the studio, Mr. James Waller, together with Ms. Zita May Borden and Mr. Raymond Singh. And we talk about the Cayman Civil Service Association. It's good to see, I think, as you shared, new perspectives, new blood, new energy. It creates for not just continuity, but good succession planning. It gets fresh ideas and perspective. And I think the melding, as you mentioned, Mr. Waller, of those who've had the experience and expertise, for those who are coming in and want to contribute. In any organization, you look at a good football team, that player that you may think, well, he's been kicking the ball for a little while now, but you need that. in order to. So from that perspective, for those civil servants who are there, the different levels, the different opportunities that may exist, perhaps share for some of us, you know?
Sure. Yeah, there are a number of opportunities for a person joining this association where they can embrace opportunities. We have, as Ms. Zita said, a number of different committees, because we even have the one for
grievances. We have
grievance, but no, we're talking about one for food. People who love food. Let's get that one out. What's that name? That called entertainment committee. Hospitality. That's an excellent one. A lot of people tend to join that. If no more than joining and being a part of the organization, join a committee such as that, where you can contribute something positive to that particular committee. And if you don't want to be a part of a committee, hey, let's put it down a little bit further down the road. Just come to our meetings. Participate at the meeting levels. Whenever we have those meetings, general meetings, please come out. Show your support, because this is the way that you register your interest in the organization. This is where the entire community can see and understand that you are a formative part of the organization. So you may not even want to join one of those committees, whether it's entertainment or policy or whatever that committee happens to be. We have quite a number of them, and especially the one where the grievance committee, I'm a part of that, and there are a number of other members who help out. And we have a great need for that kind of personal skill to intervene on behalf of the organization that we work for, as well as the individuals who make up a part of the Civil Service Association. So there's a great need for skills at all levels within the Civil Service Association. And you have something that you can contribute, please feel free to do so. Contact one of us. We'll be happy to get you lined up with the right person, whichever the committee that you feel that you can best serve on, or no more, as I said earlier, to come to our meetings, learn about the association, understand where we came from, where we are, and where we want to go. And where we want all of us to be on board to arrive at the end of the day. So it's important that you show your interest by taking part, even if it's no more than at our various meetings, and sharing your thoughts, sharing your ideas. Also, you can go on Facebook. We're on Facebook. Our Facebook, not a book. So don't find me. You want not find me, that kind of thing. Or if you want WhatsApp us, you can WhatsApp us. Or we have a website. You can go on the website, and you can send any question or information you want to us via any of those means. Or pick up the old traditional telephone, or meet one of us in the grocery store and ask, and we can tell you face to face. There are many different ways of communication, and we try to use as many of them as is humanly possible, so we can meet you at the point where you're at and the contribution that you want to make at any given time to the association.
Mm-hmm. From that, Ms. Zita, when we look at the border politics of the civil service, we alluded to it, it's a large, diverse, varied group of people, not just with the skill sets and their expertise and experience, but just their daily obligations, and then leaving that with respect to those who are unfamiliar, either within the civil service, but in particular the wider community. Two things. They say, well, is there some sort of conflict? I mean, you're a civil servant, but then you're also part of this. No, it's not a union, and you referenced it earlier, Nesta, but help us understand.
Right. We are in at the Civil Service Association, meaning we are all civil servants. Mm-hmm. We all work for the government, but we are not in conflict with the government. Mm-hmm. So we work together in order to bring the best out for all of our members. And in doing so, we also help other civil servants. Because if, for instance, we have monthly meetings with the portfolio of the civil service, which is like the head of the civil service. And if, there's something that is brewing, they allowed us to, say, okay, we want to bring up something
issues with
cutting
cynical
pay
or whatever,
or cynical or whatever, we sit at the table with them and we say, well, at this time, 5 years ago or whatever time, they took a pay cut, they took this or that. Some, civil servants right now are hurting because they don't have this. The husband lost his job. It's only the wife that is working with the civil service. They got children. We don't think at this time that it's appropriate. Let's work this out and see, what is beneficial to all. Because the government may need money at the time, and they're trying to see ways in which they're trying to get it. Mm-hmm. So we sit at the table with them and negotiate, and in doing so, we're representing our membership. Mm-hmm. Because we're on the ground, people come to us and tell us their stories. Mm-hmm. So we know. So it is our mandate or our responsibility in making that blend in trying to assist them and trying to assist government at the same time. So it is not anything of a conflict. We're working along with the government in order to better the lives of those who are being affected.
Right. And that goes back to, I remember Miss Sheena Glasgow was the president at the time. I was the secretary. Had this close bond with the government came about at that time. Mr. George MacArthur, kudos to him, it was in the aftermath of Ivan and all that kind of thing, and he made a suggestion that we meet on a monthly basis with it was Chief Secretary at the time, and we met every month with the Chief Secretary. We share our concerns, we share the challenges that we were experiencing and our members were experiencing. And from then after, when Mr. McCarthy retired and we had Mr. DWAYNE Ebanks, he was Chief Secretary, but then he morphed into Deputy Governor, I think it was. And then from that, then we have Mr. Manderson, who's now the Deputy Governor. We maintain that rapport with the person at that level where we have these monthly meetings and we explore and look at the various challenges and difficulties that our members are faced and also the government is faced with. Because there was one time when the government of the day wanted to stop payments in the pension, and we said, no way, Jose. And we had to be very assertive to an extent to say, this cannot happen, because guess what? Down the road, we will be the ones who will suffer. Those of us who are working. And so therefore, a decision was made that was one of the areas that was not going to cut. It was not going to stop that. And because we recognized, we brought all the facts together and said, listen, if you do this, even for 1 year or 2 years, here's what to catch up, this is what you would have to do. And there's no way they would have been able to get us back on track. So right there, we were able to make a major, major difference. Because, again, remember the politicians are looking out on all the scopes that are before them, and they have to make certain decisions. And one decision was, this was a thing because the country was in very poor financial shape. Let's cut this, and boy, that's a nice slice that we can use for something else. But we said, not so fast, buddy. That's not the way to go. And we found a way around that happening. And there, I could tell you issue after issue, and even going back when Mr. Gilbert was president, I was under him back in the 70s, Mr. Gilbert McLean, and the challenge that we had with we made trips to see the then governor, the short man, what was his name again? What the short governor? The one back in the 70s, man. Come on, you know what he was really a good gentleman. He sat down, he listened to us, he walked us through some of the challenges because he was a very experienced gentleman. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't pull it off. Getting too old. Anyway, no, and here This gentleman said to us that, you have a good thing going. Keep it going. Walk us through. Tell us what the challenges are, and we will see how close we can align ourselves, together. He died just a year or two ago. But let me tell you one thing. Having that kind of understanding, having that kind of rapport with our employer has made us a better organization, because we don't just look at what we must get. We look at also what we must give to our organization, our boss, our employment, a place of employment, which is very important. And too often that's a missing factor if you talk about going the union direction.
All right. Well, I certainly appreciate you guys coming in. Looking forward to our continued discussion, and hopefully, as the membership understands, as the Weather Civil Service appreciates, more of us will join, better the impact. To each of you individually, to the organization, to the civil service in general, a very blessed and very safe and prosperous Christmas.
We want to wish all of our members a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous 2019. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
And Susan's in the studio. All right, let's pause and take a break. When we come back, we'll talk today.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
With your latest headlines, I'm April Cummings. Ofreg, the multi-sector regulator of the Cayman Islands, says you should soon see a reduction in the price of gasoline and diesel in response to the global decline in oil prices. Ofreg says at the beginning of December 2018, the average gasoline price was $4.76 per gallon. During a recent price review, the price for regular gas has further been reduced to $4.14 per gallon at one retail outlet. In international headlines, Prime Minister Theresa May is speaking to dozens of conservative lawmakers less than a half hour before a no-confidence vote among them that will decide her fate. Tory Brexiteers are hoping to topple May in the vote. She is making a last-minute appeal, saying ditching her now would plunge the country into even more uncertainty. And France's Interior Minister says the suspect in the deadly attack on a Christmas market in Strasbourg has had a long criminal record, with his first conviction at the age of 13. The minister was addressing parliamentarians a day after the suspect sprayed gunfire around a Christmas market in the eastern city, killing 2, leaving a third person brain dead, and injuring 12 others. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Hey, did you hear about Pinna's groundbreaking new lure prices? Over 350 of some of our top-selling brands are now reduced in price by up to 45%. Yes, 45%. For the best prices, brands and service, Penha is the place to be for your holiday shopping. Visit Penha, number 40, Royal Plaza on Cardinal Avenue, Georgetown. Merry Christmas from Penha.
JN Money Christmas link up par with your family, time for your fix up. JN Money Christmas link up par with your family, time for your fix up.
Win a family vacation and link up with your family in Jamaica, or send for them with JN Money Christmas link up. From now until December 31st, just send or receive money for an instant entry. Win a road trip airfare for one, a family dinner, and a day at a theme park. Weekly spot prizes included. Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
You can hear another CI Retro Talk Today special presentation on Friday at 12:15 p.m. when we take a look back at Cayman Islands' Christmas celebrations and traditions through the years, going back some 150 years through present day. This special CI Retro Talk Today presentation is being brought to you by Four Winds Esso, Enterprise City, and FSH Designs. CI Retro Talk Today, Christmas Remembered Through the Years, Friday, 12:15 p.m. on Radio Cayman.
It's Christmas fun for all with the Flow Quad Play Bundle for a year and weekly draws for Samsung soundbars. To win, sign up for any Flow service, including our new Quad Play Bundle. Top up $25 or more, or pay your bill on time and in full. Our Quad Play Bundle is filled with the fastest broadband, HD quality Flow Evo TV, excellent mobile call quality, and home phone with up to 2,800 international minutes. With over $40,000 in prizes, that's fun for all with Flow. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
We are Radio Cayman, and this is how we wake you up in the morning. Praise time on Radio Cayman.
Sing your praise to the Lord. Come on, everybody, stand up and sing one more. Hallelujah, give your praise to the Lord. We are united in Jesus Christ. We are the soldiers of the land.
Praise time.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
There's a meeting up in heaven. Roll call. Is your name in the name in the Lamb's Book of Life? Roll call, brother, sister. Roll call. If you don't stop shouting, if you don't stop dancing, we're going to put you out of our church.
Praise time.
Jesus in the morning, yeah.
Weekday mornings from 6 until 6:30.
Your song flowed through my lips. Your work moved through my hands. Your thoughts stay on my mind. Live in me.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today, and thanks for joining us. In the studio, I get a chance to have an opportunity to talk more about effective recycling, and in the studio, Miss Nancy Bernard joins us. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us.
Always a pleasure, and I think as we shuffle our papers, and I was trying earlier, I must share with you, let me see if I can do this today without any papers, Got to stuff electronically, but I like paper. It makes it easier. A little scrap of paper in my pocket, I can remember the note.
Yeah.
And I don't need to look at my phone or some other digital device. It's right there. It's
yes,
tangible.
we're from the old school, right?
Is that what it
this
is?
ties in really well with our topic of
exactly
cutting down on things.
Right.
Yeah.
But having said that, I don't feel as bad with that scrap of paper, because maybe as long as I can still read what I wrote, I'll use up almost every square inch of that, and then I believe, recycle it.
We sure can. Sterling DWAYNE, there's not a lot in Cayman now that we cannot actually recycle. So the Department of Environmental Health is doing a great job with recycling most items, and so I'll go through those. But before I do go through those, I just want to remind the public that we do have a waste management hierarchy or pyramid that is available on the Ministry of Health's website. And what we're asking people to do is really think about how we treat things that we're done with. Trash is treasure. It doesn't just go away as well. So instead of the pyramid having disposal on the very top, which is causing our landfill issues and causing the so-called Mount Trashmore, what we need to do is flip that pyramid so that instead of disposing becomes our last method. So what we do is reduce. You ask yourself when you're out there, do you need that packaging? Do you need those items? What can you reduce? You reuse, so use a reusable shopping bag instead of a plastic bag and so on. You recycle, so whatever you can't reduce and reuse, if you have it and you haven't reused it or not keep reusing it, then you can recycle it. And then what we're going to do down in the future is recover waste to energy with the integrated solid waste management system. And finally, we dispose it. So at the end of the day, if we're not part of the solution, we're part of the problem. We can't reserve the right to complain about what the landfill looks like now unless each and every one of us listening is actually using that pyramid: reduce, reuse, recycle, recover, and then dispose.
If we may ask at some point, and only because, again, today's only Wednesday, I can honestly confess to you, I thought it was Friday. I mean, in my mind, on my calendar, I'm already at Friday. Not because I'm looking forward to the weekend, but because of the activities that we have slated with the students.
It's Christmas time too.
And it is Christmas time. But as part of our project, some of the students are working on, they're cognizant that we recycle plastics, but perhaps only numbers 1 and 2.
That's correct.
Just want to confirm that, and that they're. I didn't notice until a few years ago that on the bottom of plastic containers or on the side somewhere, there are numbers, a little triangle-like thing. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think I may have seen some other numbers.
Yeah, and it's so tiny. You need sometimes a little pair of glasses or magnifying glasses to see it. It really is tiny.
Yeah.
But basically, it's only 1 and 2, and not because we don't want to do more, but because we have to send it back in the empty ships. And so basically, we are doing what is most cost effective for us. So 1 and 2, I don't know if persons out there know, but it basically goes all the way up to 7. So you have plastics 1, 2. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We do have sorters at DH, but to give them less of work to do so that they can exercise their energy somewhere else in the department, just make sure you only put 1 and 2 in, which generally speaking is the plastic drinking bottles. If you have a laundry detergent, the big thick bottles, those kind. It means consumers have a way of helping out this whole approach we're taking now. We can say to our grocers or to our distributors, this is what we want to see more in Cayman, because that's all we're recycling in Cayman. And actually we send it abroad to recycle in Florida. So it means that if you're shopping for a shampoo or a conditioner or any other product, something for your clothes and so on, rather than pick one that has 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 on it, try and pick one that has 1 or 2 on it instead, because then we know we can actually recycle it at the end of its use. The other things that we recycle here in Cayman, that we collect here to recycle in Florida are cardboard. So any cardboard or paper products, we just ask that you break down the box before you put it in the bins that are at all of most of the grocer locations across Grand Cayman. So paper, cardboard, plastics 1 and 2, aluminum, and not just like the old days where we just did aluminum cans, we're actually doing steel as well. So, cat food, tuna, soup cans, all of them can go. And then you have your glass. And of course, some of the breweries, or I know of at least one that's collecting, so you can reuse, give you some money back for that. But we also collect, DH collects glass. So basically with those things, and then DH has a separate program, not at the Bring Banks, but in some of the supermarkets you'll see it, where they collect batteries. They also take care of cooking oil and things like that. You basically don't really have an excuse to throw much away, because you can compost at home as well. So at the end of the day, you can have a large family that only has 1 small garbage bag a week, as opposed to 2 or 3 or 4 bags by your house a week of garbage.
And for what it's worth, it's good to be able to, I guess, again, in the classroom, do things to see how it impacts real life. And thankfully, a lot of households, parents are willing to allow children to, as part of a homework assignment, to experiment. So reports from students, and these are primary school, middle school students, so very young, nothing dangerous, nothing difficult. They can do it. And a few students have reported that they've tried this. Let's see if we can reduce what we send to landfill. Can we recycle certain things? Can we perhaps maybe repurpose this? Perhaps not even purchase this and the like.
And we used to talk about that the last time we were on your show with talking about something else. The old style way that we were when we were so independent and on our own in the old days was we had to pay attention to that. We had to live very, very carefully and frugally, and it's tying right into what our cultural heritage is anyway. So actually it's not that much of a stretch. It's just we had a generation or two in between that was used to be kind of more of a throwaway generation or two, but now we're coming right back full circle to how it used to be, and being very thoughtful about things. because you're not leaving it. It's not going away. It's going to the next generation or the generation down, and it's going to be a real problem.
And I think it's, whether you want to say you're being frugal, but it's economics. You save, and that translates into the more money that you have, maybe to do other things.
Right. So I'd welcome any callers if they have any questions at all, not just about recycling, but about the integrated solid waste management and what's going to happen with the landfill. Now's a chance to call in, because we want to really make sure that we ensure that the public is aware of what's going on and how the ministry responsible for health and also DEH is moving forward.
All right, so that's 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. If you call, I think Susan would probably answer. I mean, she might. You call, she'll answer, and you get a chance to ask a question. We did have a couple of questions about the solid waste management system. We also had a question about mulching and about recycling. You started to answer those, what we recycle, and sort of what the follow-up was, will we at any point, and if we won't, why not? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the plastics and some of the other things that are recycling. Again, mostly from the younger people, mostly from their experiences. Some who are not from here, so they've moved, and where they're from, they do this recycling. Sure. Some who are from here and they travel. So first off, those are the plastics, 3 through 7.
So the other plastics, it is my understanding, I'm not the technical expert on this. We have Jim Schubert, who's the project manager for the Integrated Solid Waste Management project, which he's been here for a couple of years now, and we're in dialogue now with the preferred bidder for that entire project. But my understanding is that those other plastics and a lot of other garbage will be used as a feedstock for the waste to energy plant, which is part of the system that's going to be in place. So instead of having a massive disposal heap, aka the landfill, it will be a very, very small residual, like about 10% of the size now, on ashes that cannot be used. I know that we're in talks with CUC to talk about the energy going back into the grid. So it's a really good use of... We still have to pay attention to reduce, reuse, recycle, etc. But at the same time, we're also going to recover that which we do dispose of in the next couple of years when this system is in place. You asked about mulch as well, and we did have a caller the other day when we were on with Mr. O.C. in the morning, and it was a really good question. It was, why are we just doing the foreign Christmas trees at that time of year? And actually, part of the solid waste management system as well is going to be having it's called windrow composting. And again, I have to say I'm not the tech expert on this, but my understanding of that is that it's, about 30% of our waste stream is all that yard waste and landscaping waste, and as to be distinctly separated from compost, as in kitchen scraps. Okay, so they're very different when we talk about composting, those two things. But that also will go into the feed, and there's going to be a windrow composting and make something, probably earth and so on. So Mr. Schubert can talk more about that, but that is part of the plan. So it's going to look very, very different in a couple of years, and we're really excited about that.
And this is it, I think, when we look at it, that's kitchen peeling, as I call it. You're doing your veg and the like, and you're doing your yard. They're separate and distinct.
Yeah.
As you compost.
Sounds like you compost at home.
Not to the extent that I could and should.
Yeah.
But it, if you don't know, it can get kind of a particular aroma.
Yeah, you have to pretty much take it out every day. That's my husband's job. But it's so useful. Now we have such a, again, tying in with agriculture, we have such a legacy in Cayman of yard work and small holdings, and now people are getting into backyard gardening, people are getting into cottage industries and creating things. And we want to create more of our culture here rather than just import it. So
and it makes honestly, for those who may not have any prowess at gardening, that homemade sort of fertilizer really improves. It almost makes you look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's really good. And I mean, you can, if you want to start off small, you can buy from the hardware shops. You can buy a little small tumbler that tumbles it for you, or you can do what Mr. O.C. said he does, which is just back it in a corner and turn it with your fork, your rake or pitchfork or something. So there's ways that you can use it. So what we're really trying to say is, like we did in the old days, in the very old days, in our grandparents' generation and beyond, let's just really think hard about every single thing we lay our hands on, whether it's that plastic straw or styrofoam or something that's a single-use plastic. Plastic is a useful thing, but let's really try and think about where it's going to end up. Can we reduce our need for that? Reuse things? Can we recycle things? And right now, DH is very cognizant of the fact that sometimes we have let the public down by having some of the overspill with some of these bring banks at the grocery shops, but we are now adding an extra day, so we should see that abated now, where they're actually picked up more often, and so they will be more clean. But it's great because it means the public for a while there was doing more than we could pick up, but now that's
Well, I think it would appear that, for the most part, I hope this isn't overly disrespectful, but I think there's some of us in the public that could be a little bit better at it. You go to recycle, and not only that you see this in this other section, but it's almost seems like someone is not just inattentive but malicious. That's just me.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I have seen going there on the weekend, people just kind of think, oh, this is a dumping ground, and they'll dump stuff. And also, please don't put plastic bags in there. Like, if you have a bag full of a certain type of recyclable, open up the bag and dump the contents in there. Make sure they're rinsed. They don't have to be scrubbed clean, but make sure at least they're rinsed and there's no food contaminants on there. Another very important point, some people think that Tetra Paks, those kind of waxy plastic covered containers that mostly contain juices or milks, they're recyclable, and they're not. Please don't put them in there, because again, the DH staff will have to spend their time picking those out. So, and then the other thing is wine bottles, if it has a cork and metal on it, because it's two different things, just pull those off, and maybe you reuse a cork for an art project or something, but don't pitch all of that in. So just be mindful to how you recycle.
Okay.
And again, entrepreneurs, great idea for kids, teenagers, young people to start companies where it's collecting recyclables, collecting compost. There's so many great ideas that we can do around this whole mindset.
It is, and as you said, is it trash or treasure? It's both. It's from other perspective, right? From that, though, when we look at the recycling, so we have a glass, whether it's the wine bottle or whether it's or it's a piece of metal container. Sometimes there's paper on it, the label. So the glass, do we take the paper off?
Right. To be honest, I don't know 100% the answer to that question. Okay. I know what I do at home, which is, if I can, like if it's a soup can, I'll peel it off
and recycle paper.
But I don't. I don't want to also waste water by soaking off labels off of wine bottles, so those go in with the paper, and I think those are okay with the paper.
Yeah.
But I think where you can, peel them off unless they're really adhered on.
You mentioned, as we speak to Ms. Nancy Bernard, and yes, we're talking recycling, but there's Christmas coming up, and there's going to be a lot of more packaging, I think, and we want honestly know what to do. Some of us still not comfortable, some of us still not as au fait with the recycling, but let's get there. The clean versus, the dirty recycling. I mean, I've seen our recycle, and I could put it back in the cabinet. It's clean. It's been washed. It's ready to go. In other countries, right within Florida, let's get there first. Why do we have it clean? Does it have to be clean to wash the tins out, rinse the plastic?
Yeah, you really have to have it clean, because the contaminants will affect when it's... What we do in Cayman is we bale it, we crush it and bale it, and then when we have enough capacity and volume, we'll send it over to Florida. So that is definitely 100% being moved on and moved out. It's not for naught that we're throwing them in the bin in the bins here. It does not end up in the landfill. It goes away and it's recycled, but it has to be clean. However, also separated. So you know how you get some packages, you mentioned Christmas, if you have kids, and they have these packages that have both cardboard and plastic. Peel the plastic off the cardboard. And also make the volume less in the bin so they don't have to avalanche and overflow. Make it easier for DH. Take the boxes and crush them down into flat boxes and then put them in. When you're at the recycling, in case it rains, close the lids when you finish, loading them up as well. But yes, please, anyone who's out there listening, if you see that your neighbours aren't recycling, have a word with them if you're recycling, and just say, hey, if we're complaining about the landfill, this is what we can do to make things better. As I say, we just can't be part of complaining unless we're part of the solution.
I mean, I referenced earlier, and the students, as they shared their reports with me, were sharing that. And again, these are primary school, middle school students. that in their households, whereas they would take, let's say, 2-3 garbage bags a week, some of them, were taking out less than one, and a smaller one. Yeah. And now one student said that they haven't, been able to have success. You could see in his eyes that almost disappointment, But then you start talking about, what are you buying? Look at the stuff that they're buying. Right. And it comes down to a change of buying habits. And if it's not recyclable yet, well, then it's not. But if you are able to, as you shared, purchase that shampoo. You can
have consumer power is massive, and you can say, I'm going to choose to get a product and encourage your grocers, talk to the owners and managers of these shops and say, can you guys please try and source more products that are, eco-friendly and so on, because, this is kind of the most topical issue right now. It touches on much wider things than even recycling does. But I think we really have a chance to walk the walk here now. And it's not, like I said, it's not a stretch from what our cultural heritage used to be, where we were very resourceful, very innovative. Using straw baskets even. Somebody said, hey, why don't we have persons teach younger persons to do the thatch baskets and then use those instead of plastic bags. So, there's so much more we can do, and so many business ideas as well. Yeah.
Well, Ms. Dancer Bernard is our guest as we talk about it. Very, very unscientific, almost cursory. In preparing for today's discussion, I went again just earlier on my escapades. I went only to one supermarket, had an employee there sort of prearranged, and I said, okay, I want you to do two things. Come take a couple of minutes, not long, and look at some of the things that I buy to see how much was recycled. We looked at plastic and paper mostly. The tins, aluminum, this steel like soup cans. Sure. They're recyclable. So we looked at plastic and paper and found two things. One, a lot of the healthier things, I suppose the organic this, healthier choice that, whatever it is, tended to be 3, 4, 5 or the non-recyclable items here.
Interesting. Okay.
It was something that one of the students had shared. I thought, So we went back and we found that. So these are popular items,
That's very interesting. And because remember now, in the States and other places, they do recycle 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But as I say, it's not a lost cause, because down the line that will be feedstock for the waste to energy component of the solid waste management system that we reduced to ISWIMs. So it's all's not lost now. I mean, we'll get there, but like I said, try your hardest to buy 1 and 2 where you can, and take reusable things when you go get your lunches and things. And some supermarkets are very careful, good citizens, and they're making sure that they use compostable items or, safe or reusable items for their deli foods and things. And we really appreciate that. We're going to make sure that we keep conversation going with grocers and distributors as things change and evolve over time.
All right. We want to be talking more about this whole issue of, this future sort of solid waste management system, and maybe ask potential when it could become online, what it would look like. Share with us as much as you're able to. Okay. And for those who are listening, if you want to be a part of the discussion, well, 949-8037 or toll free at 1-800-534-8255. Could we give them the WhatsApp to Ms. Susan? Okay. If you bring pizza, we give it WhatsApp. No, it's 925-3261. You can WhatsApp a question, a comment. You can record a voice note. Either way, send us your thoughts. Please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Cayman's cruise tourism is not at risk.
Not at risk. Not at risk if we do not build the piers. This is according to the Vice President of Carnival Cruise Lines.
The vast majority of cruise ships will continue to be smaller ships that will tender for the foreseeable future.
Of the 22 ships on order by Carnival Cruise Lines, only three are mega-class ships destined for the Caribbean. It is also a fact, that the 4th largest mega ship in the world, the MSC Margavalia, will call on Cayman from October 2019 by tender.
By tender.
Cayman's thriving cruise sector has grown steadily by 14%. We will not lose any current revenue without the piers. But we may jeopardize our stay-over tourism, which generates 76% of our tourism revenue.
Is a cruise pier really needed?
There are currently too many unanswered questions. Our government must get this right. For us now and future generations. Make an informed decision. It's your constitutional right.
It is your constitutional right. Sign the petition, support the referendum, and let's build our future together.
Honey, Our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs, with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
South Coast Bar and Grill up in Breakers, man, that is the place. For traditional Cayman cuisine, oh, you will love the taste. At South Coast Bar and Grill, we got conch and lobster and turtle stew. And every Sunday, come out with your family for the barbecue.
South Coast Bar and Grill by the seaside, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, lunch and dinner. Call us at 947-2517.
For Cayman and cuisine, the talk today is South Coast Bar and Grill.
Kubo Restaurant and Lounge. Cayman's only Pan-Asian restaurant and lounge is now open for lunch.
Taste the traditional flavors of Asian cuisine fused with your modern flair and Kubo's new sushi menu. With lunch delivery from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, you can bring the Asian fusion flavors of Kubo and your sushi platter to your office today. Kubo Restaurant and Lounge is located in the Strand next to the eatery and below Lily's nightclub.
Now open for lunch. That's right, now open for lunch with a new sushi menu and delivery. Visit kubo.ky. That's KUBOH.KY or call 947-4513 to place your order.
You need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier, payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
The only bad workout is the one that never happens. Make 2019 the year you commit to fitness. Let King Sports Center put you on the right track with their Get Fit 2019 sale from December 15th to January 15th. 2-for-1 Powerhouse Gym memberships for $600 or a single membership for $325. And call them to find out how you can take an additional $100 off this sale price. 946-5464 or visit kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, providing your fitness, recreation, and relaxation needs. Remember, fit is not a destination. It is a way of life.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us, and thanks again to Miss Nancy Bernard for sharing some afternoon with us. Yeah, it's hopefully it's fun to be here in the studio. It was best that really came on, but you still got work to do, right? So, but when we're looking at recycling, I'm encouraged by almost all of us who live and work here, recognizing that we're materially and sometimes, if we're not conscious, very negatively affecting not just the landfill, the quality of life, the environment, but our health. Now that we can do things, yes, it does, as you shared, speak to the heritage or the necessity we had to reuse a lot of things. The coconut, I believe, is the best example. Right? But there's so much more that we can do and we should do. And hopefully as we become more informed, we are able to do so and save money in the process. Now, our I still get used to the acronym. ISWIMS?
ISWIMS, yes.
ISWIMS.
Integrated Solid Waste Management. Looking at it all together in one, not just ad hoc pieces of the puzzle, which we were in the past. Yeah.
All right. I don't wish, only because, one, you said you're not a technical expert, but two, with the greatest respect, there's always somebody high up the food chain that, if you're a barracuda, you want to bite at the best one, right? So before we continue asking more about the whens and the wherefores and like. There is a caller online. Let us take a caller. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today. Hello, good afternoon. 1-800-534-8255 is our toll-free line. Let's try the line once more. Good afternoon.
Sterling.
Yes, Mom. There you are.
Yeah.
I
What happened? Listen, and good afternoon, Miss Bernard.
Good afternoon.
And I look at Mike, I'll be short and sweet now, okay?
Yes, Mom.
You mentioned a while ago about the straw basket. That means the sabotage baskets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hear what happened to know about that? Sterling can tell you, I'm deep down in that right now. Sterling, I'm trying to slip into that bag that was slipped in yesterday. That lady's bag. But listen, Miss Bernard, the sabotage palms is getting very, very scarce. So it's very hard for us that is into it to get in. The most sabotage palms are in East End, and not everybody can get there.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, so that's not. I wouldn't unless this is what can happen. People that know that individuals that know who is into the sabotage craft, they can put in their little order, but not everybody can get a bag, a shopping basket. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes, Mom.
Yeah, some would get, but all can't get. So
Right,
they have to do
the resource, the actual raw product is so precious, and we need to
yes,
look at protecting
I mean
that.
scarce, precious and scarce, getting very scarce because people come tear down them and put up them other ones yada.
I've seen others using the feed bags. I don't know who it is that does that, but there's maybe at least one or two that do the feed bags and make it into bags here. So you could even combine thatch with other products to make it stretch.
But that uses the cow feeding bag.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're nice. So listen, that's going to be my piece for now, except for Mr. Bernard. I think you heard me yesterday when I wished everybody a very good season for this season and all the other seasons.
Yes, Mom. Well, thank
Hello?
you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. You too.
Yes, ma'am. God is good. He's good
Amen.
all the time. I told Susan that currently again. Sterling.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get to you, me Susan has to talk a little while first, you know.
Well, it wouldn't be that way if you didn't, right?
If I, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go now, okay?
Blessings to you.
Okay,
Mom.
bye.
Blessings
Yes.
to you.
Yeah.
You know, and as the caller shared, you know, we can do our part. You know, as insignificant as we think it is, it certainly has a very, very telling consequence.
Absolutely.
Everybody does something. With the
ISWIMs.
Yeah. When
Do you
it's
want me to
not-
share the components?
Yeah.
Okay.
Give us a little preview.
All right. So basically, I'm sure the public has realised by now we've done a few press releases on this, but we are in talks and continue dialogue with a preferred bidder. And the various components of ISWIMs are what's called an MRF, or MRF, Materials Recovery Facility. There's going to be a composting facility, Household Waste Recycling Centre, HWRC, End of Life, ELV or Scrap Metals Facility, Maintenance Building, a Weighbridge Facility, Construction and Demolition, which is C&D facility, and what we call, I mentioned earlier, bottom ash, which is the very, very remnants, the little 8 to 10% that you just can't use for waste energy anymore. And other facilities for the sister islands, and remediation of the 3 existing landfills. So that's all when we talk about ISWIMs. That's what that comprises. It's a multi-million-dollar project that's taken years to get to this point. And I'm really excited when I see what Mr. Schubert and the rest of the Major Projects Office at PWD and our ministry has put together. And, everything from yard waste composting, which is 30% or so of the waste stream, to recyclables. The fact that we can actually now use this literally to treasure, which is energy via CUC, is probably the most exciting aspect to me, but also having a greened space instead of a landfill that looks ugly, but something aesthetically pleasing is also one of my most favourite aspects of this.
Potentially usable down the road too. We know countries that has this green mound. And,
right.
There is some activity there.
And when we do the bulk waste pickups, which I think we're either just finishing up now or kind of towards
we're still getting there.
Yeah, so we do that every year at Christmas time, but instead of it just going again into the landfill, it will be what we call that's a household waste and also, white electronic products and so on, and there'll be some sort of capacity for persons who are good at carpentry or people who, artists or so on, that like to repurpose things to be able to access some of these items as well that are in good nick for them. So the whole paradigm of just trashing everything in this last generation or two is changing back to the way things used to be, where we were really resourceful.
That is the thing that, and not to get too far off, because I have a production schedule for Monday I'm excited about. It's some wonderful young people, so I know it's going to cover a lot of good things, and I like engaging with them, not because I think I'm young as well, but not just because these are the future, they're the here and the now, but the way they think, the way they interact. I started by saying I like pen and paper, so I'll go to books and I'll go to electronic sources and check, but I'll make little notes. You speak to a young child, and I shouldn't even say that way because some maybe think it's offensive, but they'll have that electronic gizmo in their palm of their hand.
Right.
This could be in Cayman in the school, this could be in a meeting that you're organizing something, but this could be somewhere in the US, for instance. They're going to be talking to you with this thing in their hand, going through all their stuff, and if you don't have the capacity for them to share that with you on another forum,
then you're going to be lost. That's the way.
That's just the way it is, right? And they're conscious of everything. This notion that, I don't know, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but how many of us now, because we have these young ones in our homes, have, I call them steel straws. They're reusable straws, but they're not anything other than an indestructible material.
Right.
And they travel with this thing.
Yeah.
And to give them a straw, it's
that's
offensive.
Well, I know my children won't be listening because they're at school, but that's what they're getting for Christmas. We don't have them yet, and I think it's great. And then you get the little brush that goes with it. You don't need to then, be part of the problem. You can be part of the solution.
And these young people, you go out and, some of us, I won't embarrass a former co-worker. He used to have his hot sauce in his pocket because his food needed a little flavor. Right, some of us may have the rouge or the blush or whatever it is, the makeup, the mascara, the lipstick or whatever. But many of the young people now, in addition to all those other accoutrements, they have a steel straw. They have a thing that they take with them that they use.
That they're using. Good.
And
that's great.
Seeing it for the first time some time back was a bit strange. And go places now and not seeing it, you go, oh, that's the anomaly.
Or paper straws, which is the next best thing, but it's better again to have reusable. Yeah.
So, with respect to ISWIMS, right? So this integrated solid waste management system. I like how we've gone from a landfill to a system now.
Yes.
Right? You mentioned the MRFs and the ELFs and all
of
those
that
things.
good stuff.
Are they buildings or sections? Or how does
some of them are buildings, some of them are modules or bits of equipment, but it's all happening. I just want to make sure I give you the right information. So we're hoping in early 2019 for there to be some kind of a detailed design and construction plans for the ISWIMS facilities, and it should be about a year and a half for some of the components to be constructed, maybe 2020, 2021. But because, as I say, it's a multi-million-dollar project, it's going to take a long time. The waste-to-energy facility is one of the biggest chunks of this, but as I say, there's a new weighbridge, there's a composting facility, there's household waste recycling, and so on. So the opportunities are great, but it's a 25-year long contract with whoever does end up to be the successful bidder. So it's not. It's taken a long time, and perhaps it's hard for all of us to realize that sometimes. But you can't have a change of this nature that happens within 6 months. It's taken years to get to this point, but we're really excited that it's coming to fruition.
It's promising, and this will take place as it is now expected on the existing site of what we call the Georgetown landfill. Is that where it's going to be? Right there?
Now that landfill itself doesn't have much of a life left because as you go up into the pyramid shape and higher, there's a sort of angle that the trucks can't get up safely and so on. And actually, when you stand on the landfill, you feel it shaking when trucks go by you. So it's not that stable. So, but remember now, because the future integrated solid waste management system is going to be so different. It's not as if you're creating another massive mound. You're going to have 8 to 10%, what we call the residual bottom ash, that isn't used into waste to energy, or isn't composted, or isn't shredded for use on farms and so on.
What happens to that? Do we know? That 8 to 10% that is now ash.
The ash, that I don't know.
Yeah,
I think that becomes then the next
landfill.
Little landfill, but it's going to be minuscule compared to the mammoth that's there now, which is going to end up being really beautiful because it'll be a green space.
Yeah, man.
But again, all of that is going to take another few years to unfold from now.
Okay. I'm going to take a couple of callers. I'm going to ask also about the BRAC and the lake and different little things. But if you have time and you take the desire to place a call, why don't we answer it? Hey, good afternoon, welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Yes, hi, good afternoon, Mr. Moderator, and good afternoon to Mrs. Barnard.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, recycling, such a mammoth task, and I think it starts within the schools. I am very impressed when I see campaigns and promos of young students. I see them on YouTube, I see them on local TV, getting the message across of the importance of recycling. Perhaps people our age, it might be too late. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, they say, but if we can get into the minds of the youngsters to go green and the importance of taking care of terra firma and to recycle and to reuse, this is where it starts. It's something that we can do collectively, but I say it starts from the young, okay? And finally, as it relates to our heritage and preserving our arts and crafts, I think it's a very delicate balance with our national tree, the silverback palm, that we don't completely defeat them. But I know some artisans to this day in Cayman Brass and in Grand Cayman who rely heavily on the fact to make their baskets and their hats. It's tourism products. And I think we just have to balance it. And I don't expect you to comment on what I'm about to say, but I support the pier. I would like to see the port. Thank you. Merry Christmas when it comes.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas to you too.
Take care.
If you wish to add anything, but I wanted to ask of you, Susan says, take a break. You bringing chocolate during the break, Miss Susan? No? If not, we got to keep talking. All right. When we come back, we'll talk more about it in the company of Miss Nancy Bernard. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's new kitchen and bath center.
So you made Santa's list this year? What do you want for Christmas?
All I want for Christmas is a new car, or truck, or SUV, and a Tupiki.
Yeah, you're not cheap either. Just a car. You know Van Motors still has your sale, your choice going on. You can save thousands on purchase price, extend warranty or service, upgrade to a sports package, or gift your savings to someone else.
You mean you gonna save when you buy that car for me? My gift to you is letting you use $1,000 you save for yourself.
Your sale, your choice at Vamped Motors. Save up to $6,000 on selected vehicles. You decide how you want to save, spend, or do both with up to $6,000. Your sale, your choice at Vamped Motors, Walker's Road.
Paramount Carpet Cayman Brack pre-Christmas blowout sale is back for 2 days only, Friday, December 14th and Saturday, December 15th. Save big with up to 75% off a selection of tiles and carpets. Wall and floor tiles as low as $10 per box. Universal mats from as low as $5 a pair. And up to 15% off many more items. Paramount Carpet Cayman Brack pre-Christmas blowout sale, Friday, December 14th, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Saturday, December 15th, 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Followed by the Children's Christmas Party At Spot Bay Park, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Paramount Carpet, Cayman Brack, located 3436 Spot Bay Road. Call 948-2665.
We do a whole lot more than just cover your floor at Paramount Carpet.
'Tis the season to be jolly, and Kirk Freeport is spreading holiday cheer for the whole family. Join us on December 15th from 4 to 7 p.m. for the annual Christmas on Cardinal event. Festivities will include music, refreshments, face painting, cotton candy, cookie decorating, fireworks, and more. Bring the whole family and don't miss your chance to see Santa. Kirk Freeport's annual Christmas on Cardinal event, December 15th from 4 to 7 p.m. on Cardinal Avenue in Georgetown. Merry Christmas from everyone at Kirk Freeport.
Getting ready for Christmas is all about the finishing touches.
The icing on the cake, the table neatly set, decorations specially placed, and gifts thoughtfully wrapped, all to share with those we love.
Merry Christmas
and a Happy New Year.
Brit K, where people come first.
Brit K's offices close at noon, December 24th and 31st.
Visit britk.ky.
A trip to New York City is the experience of a lifetime. Starting this December, Cayman Airways will be offering daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman to New York City. That's right, Cayman Airways is going daily to New York City starting this December. Stroll through Central Park or take in the bright lights of Times Square, enjoy a Broadway show, or visit museums, the Empire State Building, and so much more. Whether you're visiting for business or pleasure, you'll fall in love with New York City. And daily non-stop flights from Grand Cayman aboard Cayman Airways starting this December. For details and to book, call Cayman Airways reservations at 949-2311. Contact a travel agent or visit CaymanAirways.com. 'Tis the season to celebrate big savings at Reflections Apparel, Footwear and Accessory Store in their brand new location with lots more parking on Shedden Road beside Mango Tree Restaurant. Ladies, you can find the perfect holiday party dress, and men have a wide selection of dress and polo shirts with blazers to match. With brands like Levi's and Dockers, Reflections will keep you stylish this holiday season from head to toe. Find great gift ideas like leather belts and wallets, perfumes and accessories, or grab a gift certificate in any denomination. Shop the new Reflections for all your Christmas needs. Extended hours are from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on Fridays and Saturdays.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Oh, time flies, and there's a few more wonderful minutes with Miss Nancy Bernard as we talk about, the integrated solid waste management system. And thanks so much. I know as we continue, whether it's you or one of the other colleagues or Mr. Schubert or anyone else, we'll have continued dialogue.
Of course,
to keep the public informed. With this project, it's going to, at least a long-term project, 25 years or so. So it's going to span, many elected governments and the like. It's going to cost money. Any idea where we are with potentially what we're looking at in terms of numbers, either spent to date, but more importantly, projected to be spent for this project? I've heard, Minister McTaggart, before the last election, indicate $500 million in some instances,
Yeah, I actually can't really speak to that just because I'm not aware of the latest. I'm not involved in the it's called the project management team that deals with this on a day-to-day basis. But as I say, if you have Jim Schubert on the line in the future, he can talk more to that. What I can speak about more is the components, and I can say that it is a multi-million-dollar project spanning a 25-year commitment. And as you say, it will go across governments. And the joy of policy making now and looking at solutions is that it really has buy-in from people and engagement from the public. So actually, it should be able to span whichever group is in charge, because it's spoken to and built up by the people.
Exactly. It's going to affect us all. Right? Yeah. And then the thing that you had shared too, that I think is great, the fact that, yes, it's one country, but in 3 separate, distinct islands. But we're looking at this integrated. So
it's going to be integrated. So, for instance, what happens here in Grand won't necessarily happen in Little or in the Brack. So there are going to be what's called transfer and bulking facilities on each island, and what's going to happen is, for instance, instead of baling and bulking everything and doing the same exact system in Little Cayman and the Barack and then bringing them here, a lot of the things will be brought here to be processed here, and there'll be a waste to energy in Grand Cayman but not in the sister islands, but that waste will come over for the feedstock here. So we're looking at different components on different islands, but again, the windrow composting will take care of that 30% yard waste that just goes into it, and it'll be a proper lined facility for the bottom ash, whereas this one hasn't been. So we'll take care to really mitigate the existing landfill to make it safe and mine the gases as well.
Okay. Now, from only if, again, it's within your remit, you can always get more information, but in relation to the successful entity, we had seen some press releases where there was one and then there was a combination of the others, and they all under, I used the word consortium, all under some sort of collective. Is that still the case, that they're all now together going forward to make this thing the build out? Who is going to be doing it? How is it going to be done?
Well, as I said, I'm not linked in directly with the group that's organising this. That's under Jim Schubert, who's a project manager, who's based at the Major Projects Office, as well as the ministry responsible for health. But I can say that, yes, that we are in dialogue with a preferred bidder, and that has to run its course. We're following the procurement legislation and working very closely with the procurement office. And so everything is being done completely by the book. And, I'm just really excited because we should hear about some more action and decisions made early on in 2019. All right.
Again, I want to say, because it's Christmas and all the extra things that we seem to bring into our households, the gift giving, the things that we're going to buy to prepare for the festivities. For now and going forward, as a consumer public, are there things that we can do? I mean, give us some.
Definitely. I've seen some magazines where they're using, reusable paper or newspaper to wrap gifts. You can use, I've seen people use flowers in place of bows. I mean, obviously it depends what flower, because if it's going to be sitting around for a few weeks, it'll get wilted. But, we don't have to consume things that can't be discarded of and recycled properly. We can really be thoughtful about what we use, how much tissue paper we use to stuff things with, and when we get things, don't just throw them all in a bag and have the waste collectors have to pick up 10 bags after Christmas. Just, fold down the boxes, sort your things. They say it takes about 40 days, I think, to make or break a habit. And I think it'll take us time, but I would really challenge anyone out there who's listening.
4 election cycles, is it? Sorry.
40 days. So it would challenge people out there to really try and recycle. I mean, there's no excuse not to. We've been hearing this message now for decades. And as you say, the kids are all doing it. So we had a call a couple of days ago here that people were worried about older persons, how could they get their things, or persons that have to take the bus. That's a very valid point, but again, that's where neighbours could come in and entrepreneurs could come in and charge a nominal amount to help carry their things.
Yeah. There are things that we can do, and I think if we were to look at it at Christmas now, doesn't mean just because you may have a lot under your tree, you may have little or nothing, but there's going to be stuff, and whether it's the Christmas tree itself, no disrespect to those who like that smell. I decided a long time ago I was going to buy me one of those ones that, I take it down, put it back in the box and put it in the attic.
Well, you're saving the fossil fuels, bringing it in every year and everything else. Or you could go the Casuarina route, like the old days.
I paid one price in the last 10 years.
Exactly.
No, but that was
that was your choice.
My choice, right? And it's a beautiful tree. It wasn't necessarily inexpensive, nor that cheap, but still, it works well. But if you have a real one, whether you live here or there, and it can be taken to, what is it? They chip it up and it becomes mulch.
They'll chip it up and become mulch, and then it's free mulch for us as well.
Exactly. And so it's not necessarily.
So you'll see postings from DEH that are offering that. It's normally by the cricket pitch every year.
Yeah. I mean, you can bring it by my place and you can eat it, but that's a different story.
And also, I would encourage people while we're here, because we're also the ministry responsible for culture, let's really do our level best to try and support our artisans and our farmers and craftspersons here in Cayman and promulgate our culture here and what we're creating. I've seen some amazing new ideas, everything from watches to to jams and jellies, and oh my gosh, the list is endless. That if we bought what our people make here, you're buying local, you're supporting local industry, and it's really exciting what people are coming up with.
Wow, it is.
And shipping abroad that people want abroad as well.
Yeah, it's, you know what, sometimes you just need to take a minute, hopefully, walk around and see what exists here, and hopefully gain a new perspective and a renewed sort of sense of appreciation for what exists. Whether it's between now and the new year, or whether it's in the new year, please, in person or via the telephone or a message. If we need to share something on behalf of the ministry, any of its departments, please let us know.
Okay, great. Always lots to share with the ministry.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And personally, to you and your colleagues and to the family, a very safe, blessed, and merry, enjoyable Christmas.
Thank you, and thanks for having me, and thank you to all your listeners for taking part. Thank you.
All right, Deputy Chief Officer, Ms. Nancy Bernard, and thank you for sharing with us. To our listeners, when we come back from our news break, Mr. Loxley Banks will join us. There is a little partnership between Talk Today and CI Retro. Maybe it's CI Retro and Talk Today. I don't know. It happens here on a Friday. We'll tell you what's going to come up. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
With your headlines, I'm April Cummings. The United Kingdom government has committed to formally responding to proposed Cayman Islands constitutional safeguards in the coming weeks. A press release from the Office of the Premier says the UK and the Cayman Islands governments held, quote, constructive positive talks on changes to the Cayman Islands Constitution over 2 days in London. Cayman is seeking safeguards that confirm the Cayman Islands government has autonomous capacity in respect of domestic affairs, and that the UK will not seek to legislate directly or indirectly for the Cayman Islands without, at a minimum, consultation with the Cayman Islands government. In international headlines, Toyota is recalling about 70,000 Toyota and Lexus brand vehicles in North America to replace airbag inflators that could explode and hurl shrapnel at drivers and passengers. This recall covers the 2003 to 2005 Corolla, the 2002 to 2005 Sequoia, the 2003 to 2005 Tundra, and the 2002 to 2005 Lexus SC. California regulators are considering a plan to charge a fee for text messaging on mobile phones to help support programs that make phone service accessible to the poor. According to the Mercury News, the proposal is scheduled for a vote next month by the State Public Utilities Commission. And Cuban entrepreneurs and artists are welcoming a series of government decisions in that country to soften laws that they said would have sharply limited private enterprise and artistic expression. The original measures included limits on the number of business licenses per household and banned more than 50 seats at private restaurants. They also granted a corps of cultural inspectors the power to immediately close any art exhibition or performance found to violate the country's socialist revolutionary values. The partial rollbacks, announced just last week, may provide some important clues as to the governing style of President Miguel Diaz-Canel, the first person from outside the Castro family to hold the country's top position since the 1959 revolution. Those are your headlines. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks so much for joining us. And again, if you were able to hear some of the conversation just prior with Miss Nancy Bernard, regulation to recycling. Well, if you're not sure, look at the DH website, check it out, see what happens, and see what we can do. But I'm honored now to be able to again to have a good chat and sort of preview with Mr. Loxton Banks. Friday, I missed the last one. I do apologize. I caught the first one. I missed the one just last, but I can't be in two places at one time, they say.
No, only one place at a time, one thing at a time. What's that? A very good rule, as anyone can tell.
No, but I like the partnership. I've always enjoyed, catching the different things you would do, and not just in recent years, but even way back when. I remember whether it was just two quick things, the elections, and there was this man with this, wonderful head of hair, and then I would remember activities, whether it was agriculture show or events at a Lions Center, and this same man, doing things. There's a persona, and a way you bring that. But now, all these years later, it's a historical context.
Well, yeah, and that's what CIRAT was all about, trying to float up to the top some of our history and some of our heritage and our culture, and where hopefully the young folks may ingest a little bit or digest a little bit of it, and keep it from getting buried. Funny thing, you were talking about the last guest on recycling, and my mind floated back to recycling. Wow, we used to do that a long time ago. The Carnation milk cans we'd use as water pans or the smoke pans.
But thankfully, she did reference that we almost come in full circle. And maybe back then we didn't have the fancy terminology. Maybe it was out of necessity, but I think it was an innate sense of respect and value and a recognition that you had to do these things. What is now the weekend backyard gardener was that subsistence farmer back then.
You never had, and we're getting off on a little tangent here.
But I can tell you the interest.
We never had garbage pickups,
right?
All that kind of stuff. Man, you took your own garbage, and and there was a lot of recycling going on.
And there was a lot of wisdom, and for the most part, what was done, as I understand it, and even seeing the technology and some of the things that were maybe employed, in the last 30 or 40 years or so. But as we look at the show for Friday, and we're going to look at some of the things, when you were giving me the preview, and as I was speaking to Ms. Nancy, I can see not just relevance and how it's related, but I can also see the timeliness, and that we may forget some of the traditions and the practices. They weren't just done because people didn't have a choice. They were done because they were done from a traditional historical perspective, because they had value. And why change something that has proven itself?
Well, they had value. They were valuable to the community. It promoted cohesiveness within the community. It promoted, we talked about recycling. It's so many aspects of our heritage and culture that I think, if you really examine it, has got pushed by the wayside, which had great value back then, and which would have great value now if we would only cultivate them.
Right. If I may ask, and I don't wish this to be anything other than a person asking a question, looking for an answer. I did try to seek it. If my uncle was here, God rest his soul, I would get the answer. Following the meeting last night, talking about Barkas, someone asked, well, you remember there used to be a lot of, I thought he said candlestick. There's a candlewood, candlestick.
Candlewood.
Candlewood. Uncle used to tell me about it, and this was, from what I remember, you got it, you light it, and it burnt forever, it seemed like. And presumably, in the Barkas area, there was a lot of it. It was rare that you seem to find it. This person, a bit younger than me, not much, recalls that equally, but says, I'm not even sure that it's still readily available. Would I even recognize it? And what other, pieces of our history or heritage of our environment that have been inadvertently, in pursuit of development, sort of displaced?
Well, I think, and I attended that meeting myself, and it's just another what was the song? Another block in the wall, or another
hole in the wall, Pink Floyd? No, no.
All right. Another hole in the wall that's being punched or trying to be punched in our heritage, our culture. I mean, in our Barcas area, probably one of the richest areas now as far as the growing of new fish and things of this nature, you know, all the lobster. I mean, you heard someone describe last night how he went out there within the last couple of days and described what he saw in that turtle grass. And here they want to remove the turtle grass.
I laugh now because it's funny, but I recall, and I'm sure when I see her again, we're going to laugh. Right? You grew up in that area. You know how you shuffle your feet when you're walking out in the seagrass. Your little children, as they come along, you know, they're probably not much higher than the water, but if they can hold their own, you hold on to them, they hold on to your leg, and you shuffle your feet and you walk out till you get to the white hole to swim.
Right.
So for those of us who may have a connection to Cayman but have never been to Barcas, the first time that they come, you take them for a visit. So suffice it to say, you know, one year, one of those extended family members visited, and the recognition that in this, you know, amongst the seagrass, is all of this, you know, wonderful sea life, you know, hitting against his skin, and you know, the periwinkles may have been sharper back then. I think the kite surfers may have taken their toll to some extent, but nonetheless, and the recognition that you've taken for granted that, you know, the lobster and all the other little bits and pieces that are out there, and it's okay with you because you know what it is. This person who was probably in the first time in this kind of water, right, walking and very, very conscious that could be nibbling at your toe, you know, isn't Jack Frost. You know?
No.
So it's very, very diverse, but very important, and yet we've ignored it now for Fridays. Well, go ahead.
Well, yeah, we've ignored it, and what you know, CRET is all about is trying to, as I said before, float some of these traditions, some of these remembrances, some of these things that, as you mentioned, had value and today would have great value to our society or community if they were encouraged to be practiced more.
But shared and celebrated, and you know, whether it's not just the passing of knowledge, but it's actually sometimes the practice. The candlewood, for instance, you know, up there, even now with all the development, still relatively dark. But I understand when you would go fishing, you know, being able to take this great illumination from this thing,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Give them not just the light that they need to do whatever they're doing, but maybe a sense of safety. They're not in this pitch of night. But we're bulldozing, literally, so much. We're excavating and we're dredging and we're destroying.
And yeah, you know, I wondered. I think Mr. Runner was in the meeting there last night.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't hear him say much, but it would have been really something to see what was going through his mind when he was listening to all this discourse and really a lot of rubbish that was coming from some sides about you know, what the projections were. And him, I'm sure he spent a lot of time there. I spent a little time there myself. I mean, I used to be able to go out there and walk up to water up to my knees and get my dinner of lobster for the next day. I did not use candlelight, but what we call a torch.
Yep.
You know, where, you know, and I think about it, how could we see with that? And the illumination that you got from a torch type thing was very dense and actually red. And you could see this red lobster down on the surface in the seaweed and in the turtle grass. And you know, and I mentioned seaweed. And again, we kind of going all over the place, but touching on recycling. Many folks used to use the seaweed for fertilizer.
Yeah.
And in fact, just a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, I saw all this seaweed piled up, and I said, and I said I have to call somebody up and see how I can get it. And when I went back next day, it had all gone, and I presumed that it probably went to the dump. And,
yeah. Well, I know someone, because I think you had mentioned as well, but someone else equally, and it was one of their properties on West Bay Beach, and they went, one evening it was there, they were waiting for the bulldozer or whatever was to come and clear it, so they took a couple of buckets and was trying to get some because they put them on the plants, and I'm only giving you the story as I got it, but presumably the person was told, you can't be taking that by somebody seemingly, official. And he thought, you're going to discard this thing, you're paying to get it removed, I'm only helping you, I'm not taking that much. Now, for what it's worth, maybe it's a lack of understanding, maybe it's just that selfish, foolish way that we have
probably lack of understanding, because I don't think there's been much education done on a lot of these things. We probably have got 150 to 200 people moving in here weekly, new people, and and a lot of the people that we have here are relatively new when compared to some of us that has been around here for a little while.
There's that too.
And these customs and these things that do have value to the society, to the community. I think if there was more education going on within the community, and who's going to take up this mantle, I don't know, but certainly government has a responsibility to look into it and work with the community to educate the community on various things. I mean, recycling. Wow, there's so much that can be done with recycling.
Well, with that, let's just pause and take this last break. When we come back, we'll talk specifically about, I'll give us a little preview on this show on Friday. And as we learn and laugh, we'll see where we go. Mr. Loxton Bank is our guest. The phone lines are open if you want to share a thought. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
You need Fidelity Health. At Fidelity, they offer great coverage through a highly rated and trusted carrier, payments I can afford, and with no on-island deductible on all the plans they offer. Best of all, they offered my company 50% back on the first month's premium.
Make the easy switch to Fidelity today and get 50% cash back on your first month's premium until December 31st. Call 949-7822 to make your switch now.
Retain your peace of mind by installing a reliable generator, knowing that your family is safe and secure during a power outage. At Corporate Electric, we care about the well-being of our customers and their loved ones. We are the official distributor of Kohler SDMO generators in the Cayman Islands and can conduct a free assessment of your house to suggest the perfect fit. Call us at 946-2277. Visit our website or the Facebook page for more details.
Matt Brown and Rita Estevanovich star in the Cayman Christmas Comedy Show. A gift from the CNCF to you. Yay! Christmas Comedy Show. I'm excited.
Well, I don't want to see it.
Too bad. You're in it.
Me in a show?
It's the bestest, most festivus Christmas show ever. Coming to your district between December 11th to 16th. Visit Facebook/Cayman Culture for all the details. Yes, I am going. Definitely I am going.
Cayman's tourism product must be properly developed to ensure long-term prosperity for all.
According to the Environmental Impact Assessment, 3 years of construction will stop all water and shore-based activities in the Georgetown Harbor.
Snorkeling, scuba, glass-bottom boat tours, and submarine tours currently generate around $10 million per annum
from our Georgetown Harbor reefs alone. This will result in the loss of hundreds of jobs and closure of many small businesses.
14 acres of healthy coral reefs will be destroyed.
Healthy coral reefs destroyed.
Destroyed.
Cruise ship engines will stir up silt,
smothering the very product tourists come to see. Is this responsible stewardship of our precious natural resources? Will Caymanians really benefit from the piers?
Our government must get it right.
Must get it right.
For us now and for future generations.
Make an informed decision.
Support the referendum.
Support the referendum.
Support the referendum.
And let's build our future together.
Stay connected and share your favorite holiday moments with Flow. Pick up the Alcatel A1 from $70 or the Samsung J2 Pro, packed with sweet features from $130. Every week you can win cash and prizes in our Cash Cube when you top up. Also check out our weekly top-up specials. Visit Flow's Facebook and Instagram pages to follow the deals. Plus, top up $25 or more for plenty chances to win great Flow holiday prizes. So make it Flow for everything mobile this Christmas. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling DWAYNE Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today in the studio. The good company of Mr. Loxley Banks. And this Friday, partnership with CI Retro and Talk Today, an opportunity for us to maybe focus more, as you share, Mr. Loxley, on not just what transpired in the past and why, but how it's relevant to today. Now, this Friday's show, what are we, well, I know, but you tell us.
Well, it's it's Christmas time, and every day should be Christmas. Really, that's what they say. Why can't we celebrate Christmas all year long?
Alan Jackson version, Let It Be Christmas.
Well, I'm thinking about the Merry Man, but really,
hey, I give you that one, but I prefer Alan Jackson.
Our Christmas traditions that go way back, and on Friday we'll look back at them that probably go back 150 years. And we will hear a narrative, describing these things, and we will see that how much value that it really had to the community in those days. Of course, it was a lot smaller community, but the same things can have value today if they were practiced more. Now, how are we going to get them to be practiced more? I think it has to come through an educational process. We have a lot of people coming in here from various cultures, and naturally, I think they would probably want to have some semblance of their culture. But I think the Cayman culture, the Cayman heritage, the Cayman history should be the prevalent one here. Of course, we know that it will be changing all the time, but there has to be the basics that should be practiced and should be promoted, constantly promoted. If it's not, then it'll get buried. Through Radio Cayman archives, and I have to mention here that Doran Miller did a lot of work on this kind of stuff. 40 years ago, 45 years ago. In fact, we were doing it 50, 60 years ago. And a lot of these things got preserved. And basically what will be heard on Friday was what we gathered up around 1977, 78, 79. And some of the narrative, or all the narrative, most of it anyway, came from folks at that time who was in their 70s and 80s. Now, if you do a little mathematics on that, they talked with people, and these were the reminiscences that they were sharing. They talked with people when they were, well, let's say, just say, a good age for remembering, from between 9 and 19, who were then relating things back to the mid-1800s, or a little beyond that. So, and it, there's descriptions of how those things were handled in the community, how people really bought into them, and I think the value that they were to the community back then, and the value that they can be now.
As I listen to that idea that the norms, the values, the mores that we have, in particular at Christmas, and without question, the various nationalities that exist there would want, to celebrate, to have their traditions, whether it's at Christmas or other times of the year. But if we don't know and share what a Cayman Christmas is like, and it's interesting talking even to Caymanians, ask them, well, what's a traditional Caymanian Christmas? Few understand and can share. Many can regurgitate what they may have read somewhere about the backing of the sand, the traditional sand yard and stuff, but a little more and a little understanding. And even the cooking of the Christmas beef, you see it sometimes and you take it for granted because maybe you can do it, maybe there's a famous family member that can do it, but that changing how it's being done. Now it's no longer chunks but shredded. It's no longer little things that are more than just cultural shifts.
Yes, and but what the old saying: the more things change, the more they remain the same. And change is going to come. Everything is constantly changing, but I think there has to be a concerted effort to retain the things that have made us what we are, the things that we cherish, and the traditions that can be of great value even in today's modern society.
As I listen to you, and it's partly in preparation for other shows, it's partly in sort of a recognition of where we are and the like, but that change, right? Maybe look at just 3 words, and I believe food is indicative of anything, but let's look at 3 words.
Well, it's one of the basic
right. Remember, not long ago, we changed the name of Turtle Farm. It was probably, Boatswain
Bay.
And then, everybody was referring to as Boatswain. My understanding of the lexicon is that even though the spelling, may be 2 different ways, this pronunciation is still the same.
Yeah.
Boatswain. Right?
Boatswain Bay.
But for a while, very intelligent, knowledgeable, very highly publicized individuals were making it, I think, an inappropriate reference. Quickly correct it. Then we look at, 2 other words, about menu. Now, so I've reached out to Cambridge educated linguists and the like, and they say, well, the spelling is this, the lexicon dictates that, and so on. But it's not batabanu or whatever foolishness that we call it. It's bottomanu.
Bottomanu,
right?
Yeah.
Simple and plain. Yeah. We go back to just Cuba and we see the areas and the like, and it's not turtle tracks. And now we got Barkas. Now, however you decide to spell it, the pronunciation is Barkas. It's not Barkers, it's not whatever foolishness that we call it. And those are the things that I deliberately say foolishness, hopefully to stir people's ire and emotion so that they start to recognize that those are the things that are important. I got a chance to travel just the other day, and I went to some little areas, and to see the pains that some of these communities go to preserve, right, that little semblance of what they had, maybe even back to the days of the pilgrim, I'm not even sure, right? It's important for them.
Definitely.
And the word itself, and yet we are prepared to discard it, to devalue it, to even, out of perhaps less than an appreciation for it, even rephrase it. And that has to change.
Well, some years ago, my wife and I went up to South Carolina, and there's a community in South Carolina, the Mullahs.
Mullahs.
And I mean, the length that they have gone to preserve that and that culture, and there are various similarities to what they practice up there as to what we have practiced here over the years, and which have really fallen by the wayside.
Yeah. I mean, don't say to sing his praises. I say it so that there's a recognition. Ray Banker, right? He broached it with me and some others, and I call it research because that's what it is, right? He is identified, and for me, sort of, brought it to my attention in many instances for the first time. So much of these things that, whether it's an African word like honor, or whether it's the mothers, or whether it's other things that, we can see that it's here and perhaps its origins, but then the need for what is here, the vernacular and the colloquialisms and the like, that it shouldn't be something to be ashamed of. And that's why I like with what you've done with Say Retro. That's why I welcome the partnership on Friday, and it's a strong compliment. But for the listening public, and they hear these things, how do we get them to not just take it on board, but to act on it?
Well, these CI Retro programs that we're producing, hopefully that the education department may see some value in them, because a lot of the stuff that you'll hear on these programs were setting or were first done on tape, which recording tape, once it sits over the years, it just deteriorates. The oxidized surface on it, what's called the inside of the tape, really becomes dust, and it just rolls away. And we, over the years, have been steadily trying to digitalize these things to where the digital age has only been here with us, 10, 15 years, really, in reality. So whether down the line we're going to find out some kind of decay process with that, I don't know. But a lot of Cayman's history, especially, I think its legislative recorded history, are being dusted away on tapes that are not being treated with the kind of importance that they should be. And it don't take long for it. I mean, if you lose 10 seconds here and 10 seconds there and 10 seconds there, it'll take you another 4 decades to piece it all together.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful that because we're cognizant that many of our history is oral, traditions are still passed on, aren't we? That's important as we embrace and try to be as inclusive, that we recognize and be as respectful and share that so that people will come. Food, I think, is a great way. You go into the kitchen, if you have your mother and your grandmother, your father, whoever it is that has a particular dish that you draw alongside. But you also, gather and hear the tales and sharing the stories and see where that takes us, right?
Yeah. So tune in on Friday, 12:15, CI Retro Talk Today presentation of Cayman Islands Christmas Remembered, taking you back some 150 years to the present day, because we hope we're trying to have some young folks on the program and some middle-aged folks and I guess some other folks in between there, that we can sort of bridge the whole gap.
Well, looking forward to it, especially when Miss Susan tells me that go back to her 50 years, she can remember those early days when she was young. So we'll see what story she has for us. It's a lot.
And we'll have a little Christmas music also on it, just to fill out the.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you. We'll see you on Friday.
Friday, 12:15.
All right. So
CI Retro Talk Today. Christmas Remembered.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful afternoon. And Susan isn't 150 years old, but she does have good genes. And they're not Jordan Sheila.
Cayman Brack.
There you go. Until tomorrow, be blessed.
voice of the Cayman Islands, Radio Cayman.
We love our listeners.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.